as poorly as the Raiders have played, I really believe they're going to give the Broncos a game today. And one of the things that this Bronco team has not done well is win on the road during the last half of the season.
And in fact, they have lost all but 1 of 8. That was against the Raiders. It comes down to Vance Mueller on the goal line. Mueller has some blockers. He's out to the 27-yard line before Bruce Plummer, number 38, can make the hit. Mark Wilson, the quarterback, brings the Raiders onto the field. And look at that Heisman pair behind him, Marcus Allen and Bo Jackson. They start in the same backfield. James Lofton now over the 10,000-yard mark in receiving, one of only 6 in history. Dokie Williams starts. Todd Christensen banged up tight end. I'll give you the offensive line after this play. Christensen in motion. Marcus Allen, not much there. Carl Mecklenburg drags him down. Here's the offensive line for the Los Angeles Raiders. At center, Pro Bowler Don Mospar. Maraldi, Lewis, Clay, and Holloway, a rebuilt offensive front 5 for Los Angeles.
John Clay finally showing some of the promise that they had hoped to see from him, but they have certainly had their problems. This is the 3rd week in a row for that offensive line. They're hoping that'll begin to pay dividends.
2nd and 9. Bo Jackson. He's out to the 38, and apparently a first down before Mecklenburg, number 77, can drag him down.
One of the things that the Broncos have had difficulty with, of course, is the running game, and particularly runs to the outside. Mecklenburg in pursuit here. Rulon Jones, 75, also out there, but Bo Jackson showing you the kind of speed that he has to get around that corner and make a fine game, very close to a first down.
They will measure at the near sidelines.
We've got to believe, Dick, that if the Raiders can do it, they're going to put as much pressure with the running game on this Bronco defense as possible.
Well, Denver has not defended the run well at all the last month.
A gain of 9 yards by Bo Jackson.
So Bo Jackson picks up the first down.
You look at the statistics, the Broncos are 25th in the NFL against the rushing game. Now that's pretty brutal, pretty brutal.
For a team that has a winning record. Wilson, draw to Jackson, 40, 50. He's all the way to the 38. A thunderbolt, 230 pounds, and he runs a 4.2 40.
You'll feel like he's coming right into your lap as he just takes the little draw play here, and against the defense that has been stretched out by the passing game, he shows you some of the patented moves that made him a Heisman Trophy winner way back a couple of years ago, but he hasn't forgotten much, I'll tell you that.
25 yards on that play. First down inside the 39. Marcus Allen. They continue on the ground, but Allen bumped out of bounds by Mark Haynes after a short gain. Here is the desperation statistic that Dan Reeve has had to digest the last 4 games. Throw out the Detroit game when they shut out the Lions. They give up 197 to Minnesota on the ground. Buffalo rushes for 258. The Bears get 146, and look at the average per carry.
When you are allowing that many yards on the ground, you're having trouble ever getting a team in a situation where you can put a squeeze on their passer. Play action becomes very effective. That's something the Raiders would like to do today.
Wilson is yet to pass, and he gives it to Jackson again. He's brought down at the 34, where it'll be 3rd and long. Let's look at the defense of the Denver Broncos. Andre Townsend, Greg Cragen as the nose, and Rulon Jones, the defensive right end and best pass rusher. Simon Fletcher, Mecklenburg, Hunley, and Ryan, the backers. Haynes and Harden at the corners, Dennis Smith and Tony Lilly at safety.
This Bronco defense for years, the strength of the Denver team. Right now, the offense is carrying that defense.
At the 34-yard line, 3rd and 5. Olsen's first pass. Jackson can't hang on. A little swing to Bo Jackson. If he had caught it, he was headed upfield for an apparent first down, but couldn't pull it in.
Few Broncos out there to take a shot at him, but Jackson just looking upfield. Now, some mistakes are the same, whether it's high school or college or Pop Warner or professional football. You've got to look that football into your hands before you turn upfield.
On 4th and 5, some confusion in the huddle for the Raiders. And apparently they're going to punt the ball. It's out of Chris Barr's range for a field goal, and Stan Talley. And they're not afraid to take a 5-yard delay of game penalty here since they are so close. But Talley will aim it toward the far corner. Will he hit the coffin corner? No. Touchback.
Touchback. Touchback.
And the Broncos start from the 20-yard line. Well, the Broncos and John Elway have the ball for the first time at their own 20-yard line as the Raiders move well on the ground. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. We welcome those of you who have just seen the New England Patriots shut out the Indianapolis Colts 24-0. Here, no score. Denver getting the ball for the first time on a punt into the end zone. They start on the touchback, and they pick up 5 with Sammy Winder on first down. Here are the Broncos, led by John Elway, was absolutely brilliant on Monday night in the win against the Bears up in Mile High Stadium. Sammy Winder and starts the game, but Steve Sewell, number 30, is expected to play a lot. Vance Johnson and Mark Jackson, the outside youth and speed. Clarence Kay, the big tight end, stuttered on his 32nd birthday. Happy birthday, Dave. Bishop, Freeman, Humphreys, and Lanier, the offensive line. Sewell in motion. Elway's first throw. Complete to Mark Jackson at the 34-yard line, and a first down. Mike Haynes with a tackle.
You try and take away the best weapon that an offense has, and right now, other than Elway, that's Vance Johnson. And look at Lionel Washington doing what you have to do in bump and run, destroying the pattern right at the line of scrimmage.
Lester Hayes, who played that left corner so well for the Raiders for many years and injured this season. Lionel Washington taking a page out of his book. On first down, a shotgun. Elway, handoff to Lang, and he has 5 out to the 40 before Jerry Robinson, number 57, can make the tackle. Here are the Raiders. Howie Long, the great All-Pro, Bill Packel, and Sean Jones. Jones, the best pass rusher. Lyndon King, a change in the Raider linebacking core. King moves outside and Jerry Robinson inside. Matt Millen and Rod Martin completes that quartet. Reggie McKenzie is injured. Washington, Haynes, Turan, and McElroy are the deep backs. It'll be short of the first down, 3rd and about 2. Let's take a look at the scores.
What's the fate to Abercrombie right now?
Early game finals, the Patriots blank the Colts. Buffalo, a winner against the Jets. 30-10 the Bears. San Francisco a winner. Cleveland disappointing Houston at home. Big game in the Central Division. The Browns waxing the Oilers, and Pittsburgh leads at Cincinnati in the 4th. Here no score. 3rd down, 1.5. A first down picked up by Gene Lang, just driving straight ahead. Nothing fancy about that.
Talking to Dan Reeves yesterday, he said one thing you don't want to do early in the game is have Elway throw a short pass. He'll put it right through those receivers. Here's that play with a first down pickup, running right in behind Stephen Humphreys, big number 76, and Kenny Lanier, or 76 and 79. Lanier and Humphreys on the right-hand side of that Denver offensive line.
Elway from the shotgun. Apparently we're going to see more and more of that. It was so effective against the Bears, and he's using it on first down and stays on the ground to Lang. Hard running, and a gain of 4 for the 200-pounder out of LSU. Rod Martin made the tackle. The rest of the scores: St. Louis, and a big surprise at Philadelphia in the 4th. Minnesota wins again. Atlanta, another loss. Green Bay pounding on Kansas City in the 4th, and the Chiefs' woes continue. Big game, and Seattle scores first at the Kingdome against first place San Diego. Sewell way out to the right, out of your picture. 2nd and 6. Elway, quick toss, and it's incomplete. Vance Johnson had it right in his hands, and then Johnson and Lionel Washington get into a pushing match.
Johnson angry as it appeared that Washington kind of stripped him down out of bounds, but Johnson caused his own problem by bobbling that pass. They bring him in motion to get him free of that bump and run coverage, but watch it here. Again, just taking his concentration off the ball, and Lionel Washington doing what he had to do to make sure the man did not get back to the football, and Vance Johnson came up very angry.
On that replay, Merlin again, Elway throwing between steps, and he had that ball perfectly thrown. And soft. He didn't handcuff him with it.
You've got to ask the question, where would this offense be without John Elway? We'll talk more about that before the day is out.
Where would the team be?
Where would the team be? You bet.
3rd down and 6. And a great catch by Clarence Kay. The tight end is all the way to the 20-yard line.
Pass deflected, Clarence Kay.
Stacy Turan cannot believe that Elway got that ball so quickly into the hands of Clarence Kay. Now, Turan had great position. He said, no way that he's going to throw to my man. Ball zips right between his hands. Look at that. He's right on top of the man. Now, you can't cover a tight end any closer than that. And, of course, Clarence Kay, who has really turned his life around during this season, making a very heady play and a good run after the catch.
30 yards for Kay and a first down at the Raider 20 as the Broncos threaten on their first possession. Steve Sewell, nothing. Well covered. Washington and McElroy from the secondary come up to support Matt Millen.
Dick, can you think of another player right now in the NFL who has shouldered more responsibility for his team than John Elway?
And we said it last year as well, that he is the single most important player on any team in the NFL.
I think Dickerson probably last year might have been able to compete, not so this year. Marino certainly is important to his team, but I don't think of anyone that carries as much of the load as John Elway.
Mike Ditka would agree with you.
I think he would, definitely.
Johnson, a fake reverse, and Elway throwing off balance into the end zone. And knocked down was Mark Jackson. Had he not been worried about getting a flag and concentrated, Elway had the ball pretty close to him.
You can't play to the officials, Mark. You got to do your job first. Watch the faking here. Good fake of the reverse play, freezes the defense momentarily. Elway seeing a man not open at the beginning, and Jackson not looking for the ball. Coming up, I think you're right. All he has to do is get his eye on that ball. He had a chance to catch it.
That would have been a remarkable reception. Had he made a dive forward, he would have had a chance to get his hands on it at least. 3rd and 10.
Shotgun again.
Elway buying time. Runs out of room. Oh, he's still alive. No, the whistle blew it dead back at the 32-yard line.
Grasp and control. Grasp and control. Runner down right here. 4th down. 4th down.
Verifying that he was in
4th
grasp
down.
and control.
Net.
And of course, you got to remember this rule was made to protect the quarterbacks. Unfortunately, a quarterback as strong as Elway, with the size of a linebacker or a small linebacker and the running ability of a running back, gets hurt by the rule because he's strong enough to pull out of those tackles.
Well, that was a thin in the grasp call, but there was a moment where you can see why the official would have called it. Well, with the sack, Rich Carlos now has a challenging try for a field goal of 49 yards. His longest this year, 51. He's got it, and he got it by a good 8-10 yards. Carlos from 49.
Rich Carlos will miss the altitude of Denver, but not the cold. Boy, when that ball gets cold, it's like kicking a rock. Beautiful weather here today for this football game, and Carlos really got that bare foot flush into that football.
Oh, that's pleasant to the puppies, this 80-degree sunshine, and he hit it a good way. There was no doubt about the distance. It was a matter of whether it goes through. So the Broncos take the ball on their first possession and march from their own 20-yard line and convert a 49-yard field goal thanks to Rich Carlos. Let's look at the AFC West coming into this week's play. San Diego, the surprise team, perhaps in the entire NFL, with the lead, playing at Seattle. Seattle with a win will really tighten things up, and they're favored to win at home in the Kingdom. Denver sitting at 5-3-1. That tie to Green Bay could be critical down the line. And the Raiders 3-6, losing 6 in a row, and then Kansas City. Now within the division, Merlin.
You look at the divisional standings, you see that San Diego has already lost 1 within division, Seattle 1, Denver 3-0, but again, Dick, that tie probably takes the importance of some of those divisional games out of there.
Here's Carlos with a kickoff. Mueller will come up to grab it at the 8-yard line.
Get the handle on it, Vance.
And he's out to the 27-yard line.
Let me just finish that thought. The importance of those games within the division is that that's the first tiebreaker, head-to-head first and then divisional record. But when you've got a tie on your record, that kind of takes you out of that sequence. That's the reason that 3-0 is not quite as important as it might be in other years for Denver.
Mark Wilson brings his offense into play with 6:07 remaining in the opening period. And the Broncos with a 3-0 lead. In the last 8 years, there's never been a split in this series. 4 times the Raiders have swept, 4 times the Broncos have swept, and Denver won the first game this year.
Not these same 2 teams, however, Nick. Oh, good
Jackson.
play.
Well, that very nearly intercepted, and Jackson able to rip it away and pick up some decent yardage.
We talked about the importance of a John Elway, and of course one of the major problems for this Raider team has been that quarterbacking situation. Mark Wilson stepping in to start last week, had a pretty good ball game. Here he is again in this situation, just throwing the little outlet pass there. He does have good touch on the football and showed it there.
2nd and 7 when it appeared that might be a loss. Vance Mueller has replaced Bo Jackson. And Wilson to throw. Oh, right into the teeth of the defense. That's so close to being intercepted by the Broncos.
Ball just kind of got away from it. And he does at times throw that bad pass high. Let's watch Jim Ryan, number 50, leader on that Bronco defense, getting back into coverage just barely over his hands. And Todd Christensen saying, was that to me? It was really badly thrown.
3rd and 7. Mecklenburg and a fumble. The Broncos recover. Number 56, Michael Brooks, falls on the ball as Mecklenburg from the blind side jars Wilson, and the ball falls right into the lap of the linebacker Brooks.
One of the things this Bronco defense has really not done very well this season is to put pressure on the quarterback. They did get a couple of key sacks right at the end of the game last week. And here they are with a turnover off a sack. Watch Mecklenburg right there. The blind side for Mark Wilson. And again, we'd have to say the offensive line of the Oakland Raiders with so many new faces. The Los Angeles Raiders, where did that come from? So many new faces in there. Really having trouble trying to protect their quarterback. Brian Holloway over on the outside, and no help from the running backs.
Elway leading 3-0, takes over at the 24 of Los Angeles. Complete in heavy traffic intended for Mark Jackson. Boy, he has courage. He's only 5'9" and 174. And since he came to the Broncos as a 6th-round pick last year out of Purdue, he's not afraid to go over the middle.
Let's take a peek at Jackson. Washington giving him some room. It's McElroy, number 26, in from the inside, and then Washington in a sandwich from the outside. Jackson leveled. He is a tough little receiver. All 3 of these receivers, they remind me of the Miami receivers. Very small and very quick.
The shotgun. It's Elway. Over the middle, wide open, completes it to Vance Johnson. He has a touchdown.
Touchdown, Vance Johnson.
Just before the game, Johnson came onto the field with VJ Day painted onto his shoe with a magic marker. Vance Johnson Day. Well, he certainly has started out by making it a VJ Day here with a fine reception and a touchdown run.
Well, he's on quite a streak, Merlin Olsen. That's 5 straight games that Vance Johnson has a touchdown reception.
Lots of time as he comes all the way underneath, shakes himself free of the coverage. It looked like one of the Raider defenders might have been sandwiched in that thing, perhaps picked off on the play, still on the ground.
Mike Haynes, the veteran corner and a valuable property, is not up at the moment. There's Vance Johnson.
I think that was the man that was coming across the field in coverage of Vance Johnson. You see Mike Haynes up on his own. George Anderson in the black sweater there, the Raiders trainer, looking on as well, it's a very ginger movement as he heads toward the sideline. There he's picking it up. Dr. Rosenfeld, the light sport coat at the front. Anytime your starting cornerback goes to the ground that way, you have to be concerned.
And Tom Flores, the coach of the Raiders, and for the first time in his 9 years as the head man here in Los Angeles, they're starting to write and they're starting to talk about, is he in trouble in light of the 6 straight losses. Boy, bad spot, and Carlos still ripped it through. It's 10-0 as Elway needs only 12 seconds after the fumble. 2 plays, 24 yards, and Vance Johnson takes it in for a 10-0 lead. John Elway with his 12th touchdown throw of the season.
And I've got to do my job.
Vance Mueller at the 3-yard line. And he cannot get out to the 20, and that is not a good sign for the Raiders when they have to start from inside their own 20-yard line. They have not been productive at all.
Special teams so important. That's Lucas, a linebacker, way down on the starting list, but gets his day in the sun on special teams. Makes the most of it there with a fine open field tackle. And Tim has got a broad smile, and we'll earn a few accolades for that in special teams meetings come Monday morning.
The Raiders regulars have not scored all year when they've started a possession inside the 20. Marcus Allen gains 3. Jim Ryan, the veteran from William & Mary, linebacker, number 50, made the tackle.
So many of those problems, Dick, associated with self-destructing, with the turnovers, the interceptions, the fumbles, and especially key penalties. Last week they set the Raider record for penalty yardage and tied
that's a
very
record
old
when the Raiders set a
That
record
is a
for
record, I want to tell you.
186 yards last week at San Diego. 4th highest total of yards penalized in NFL history. Wilson has a man wide open. James Lofton, the veteran, is out to the 35 and a first down. Tony Lilly with a tackle. Lofton, acquired from Green Bay, has 18 catches and that flossy average again, averaging over 22 yards a reception.
Lofton will find himself covered by linebacker Rickley Hundley right there, just flowing into a little open spot in that zone, finding some room. 22 Tony Lilly up to make the stop, but that's a very nice game.
Whoops, a broken pattern. Wilson had no one to hand it to, and he slides out of bounds at the 36-yard line. A game of 1.5 yards.
Bo Jackson looked like maybe going the wrong direction on that one. Mark turned to hand the ball to him, and Bo had gone the opposite way. Mark did what he had to do, which is get it out of bounds. Bo still learning the offense, basically now comfortable with almost all of the offense, but still is going to make a few mistakes. You don't just come in and pick up a professional team's offensive plan and do it automatically and make all the adjustments without making a few errors.
Couple extra defensive backs in for Denver on 2nd and 9. much time. Give was to Marcus Allen, but I believe they spent all of the time, or there was movement before the snap. Movement is the call by Jim Tunney, the referee. And while Jim Tunney makes that call, right next to him or near him is the side judge, number 97, Nate Jones. And we want to congratulate Nate Jones, who was named the outstanding executive in the school systems of the state of Oregon, the principal of the year, a very high honor for Nate Jones, and we want to congratulate him. We'll get a shot of him later. I'd like to welcome those of you who have seen the Cleveland Browns and Houston Oilers, 47 Browns. Here, Marcus Allen fumbles, but the Raiders recover. Denver Broncos lead 10-0, took their first possession downfield, and Carlos hit a 49-yard field goal. Then Mark Wilson with a fumble at his own 24. And on the second play, Elway hit Vance Johnson with a touchdown pass. It's 10-0.
Watching the Broncos expecting the pass. Mike Harden diving in. Looked like he may have slapped a hand to that football. Popped out of Marcus's hand, but Raiders alertly get their hands back on it.
Bo Jackson, his Heisman teammate, and we're going to see those two in the same backfield often today. And they're there now behind Mark Wilson. Mecklenburg, who forced the fumble but set up the touchdown, gets to Wilson again. As he walked around Holloway, the left tackle.
They placed Mecklenburg way on the outside. Watch him here, firing from the outside as he's going to come all the way around. We turn him loose here. A little slow getting off the ball there, Carl. There he goes. Just rolls a little spin move on Holloway, left him standing, and leveled Mark Wilson from the blind side.
Mecklenburg with a couple of big defensive plays. Stan Talley is averaging 42 yards a punt. It's Vance Johnson back at the 22. A dying spiral, tough to handle, and it'll go out of bounds around the 30. So with 2 minutes and 22 seconds remaining in the opening, Corral Davis took over here, and they're not off to a good start today.
They're off to a bad start here, and certainly showing the kind of problems that have given them fits. Turnovers, mistakes, errors, and lapses on defense.
Here's the reverse. It goes to Ricky Nattiel. And it does not fool the Raiders at the 32-yard line. Rod Martin stayed at home.
Against a team that plays a tight man-to-man, you like to reverse the football because sometimes you find a defender with his back to you and running in the opposite direction. Not so here. The Raiders were not fooled, and Dick, when I said the Raider defense has had problems, that's true. They have not played well in some games, but they do rank third overall in the NFL. But still, they have not made the big plays that are so traditional for a Raider defense.
Sammy Seal was the man who really shut off that reverse, and now Elway goes for it all, and he can't get it to Mark Jackson. Lionel Washington, 48 on the coverage. Now, many of you have seen these games. The flag is down on that last play. We'll run down the scores for you on our NBC ticker. The flag is against Denver.
I have to tell you that Sammy Seal in the game because of an injury to Mike Haynes, a leg injury. We'll check on the seriousness of that, but Sammy Seal starting at that right corner position at the moment for the defense.
And more bad news for the Raiders. Their fullback, Steve Smith. Sorry, now we're getting the correction. We got a Smith and assumed it's bad news is for Denver. It is Dennis Smith, who apparently has a fracture and will not play today. We'll try to give you more information on that. Second and 17 for Elway. And it's Gene Lang back to the 30, where the Broncos will look at third down and about 10. A reminder to our viewers that we'll be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player in today's game. We'll announce that near the conclusion. John Elway. We talk about the two Heisman winners in the backfield, Jackson and Marcus Allen for the Raiders. He was second to Mike Rozier in the Heisman balloting as a senior at Stanford. Going deep and all alone is Ricky Nattiel, the rookie from Florida, the #1 pick of the Broncos. And did Elway do a masterful job of looking off the defense? He gave no indication that Nattiel was that wide open. Knowing his arm, he let him run, and then he gunned.
Elway so masterful at getting enough time to allow these young receivers to get off the ball. And of course he's going to test Seal over on that side. Nattiel saying, my man fell down. Get that football out here. Seal, to his credit, up off the ground and down there almost in time. Watch Elway now, getting away from Bill Pickell, number 71. Stutter doing a good job on Sean Jones, but then Elway just airing it out over the top, right over Sammy Seal's head.
At the end of the first quarter. The problems continue along the Raiders sidelines. We open the second quarter. Denver leads 10-0. The long pass over 50 yards. Elway to Nattiel gives the Broncos first down at the 18. Steve Sewell got a little extra with that vault. He's inside the 15 to the 14. Gain of 4. Jerry Robinson and Sam Seal with the play. Here it's 10-0 Denver in the Coliseum, Los Angeles. Now to NFL Live in New York.
All right, Dick, reviewing some of what happened earlier today. This was part of the Bears' 30-10 win at Soldier Field over the Lions. Dennis McKinnon latches onto a 31-yarder from Jim McMahon. McMahon suffered a concussion in the first half, left but returned to play in the second half. The Bears are 8-2, the Lions 2-8.
All right, Bob, here in Los Angeles, the Raiders need to come up with something special, or they're looking at a possible rout at the hands of Elway and the Broncos. Look at the time for Elway. And he finally throws it away. Clarence Kay is tied in, the closest man.
Elway will take all the time you'll give him, but he does have a feeling of knowing when it's over. And you saw him just unload it out of bounds. There are the statistics. Broncos without a great deal of rushing yardage. The Raiders have done pretty well in that department, but look at the difference in passing. Look at what Elway has done as opposed to what Mark Wilson has done in this first quarter. Total yardage, of course, very much in favor of the Broncos.
If he keeps that up, he's working on a 496-yard game.
Very often, Dick, and I know you'd agree, that Elway's statistics don't bear out his contributions during a game.
Big play for the Raiders. They try to force the Broncos to settle for only 3. It's 3rd down and 6. Again, great protection. Now he guns it incomplete. Dan McElroy, the coverage on Ricky Nattiel.
Elway is angry. I don't know who he's mad at. Clarence Kay, number 88, coming down and across the middle. He's the man that's wide open. The throw inside to Nattiel, and I think Elway was angry at Nattiel over the pattern that he had run on that last play.
Rich Carlos, who hit one from 49 yards going the other way. This one will be 31. He's only missed 2 all year. And he slides that one through. So Rich Carlos is 12 for 14. It's all Broncos thus far, but for the Raiders, at least they're within 2 touchdowns. See him in Los Angeles. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. Just a half-minute gone in the second quarter. Rich Carlos with a couple of field goals. Denver leads 13-0, and this kickoff is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. Carlos to hit it toward Vance Mueller and Doki Williams of the Raiders. Carlos waiting for what we do not know.
He says, I'm ready.
That whistle that beckons the kick is sounded. Doki Williams from the 2. He's got speed, but had extra extricate himself from that. Good coverage by the Broncos. Stopped at the 13-yard line. And Tim Lucas, 59, angry. Thought he might have been pushed in the back. Complete the information on Dennis Smith, the brilliant safety of the Broncos. Broken forearm. Not good news for Denver.
Slow starters. Since the veterans returned from the strike, the Raiders starters have put 1 touchdown on the board in 6 games in the first half. And look at that combined scores, as they have really had a horrible time getting underway.
They trail 13-0. Mark Wilson off play action, throws underneath to Bo Jackson, and he's drilled at the 18-yard line. The Broncos with a 13-0 advantage. Let's go to Bob Costas. Joe Montana and Jerry Rice back at it again. Jackson picked up about 4 on that first down pass. Marcus Allen gets outside and finally bumped out of bounds with a first down at the 27. Tony Lilly was the last Bronco there.
Marcus had a 44-yard run last week versus San Diego, and I'll tell you, he can get you. And certainly with Bo Jackson teaming him that backfield, hard to zero in on just one guy. Good job by Clay, John Clay, the big rookie tackle, as he pulled out in front to lead that play.
Marcus Allen, the NFL MVP 2 years ago, and he's really won some more fans here in Los Angeles. The way he's accepted his role with Bo Jackson, he said, I'll play fullback, I'll block, just let me know. Here's Jackson. And he's dragged down at the 31. He's almost doing a defensive player a favor when he decides to stop and go laterally. I imagine, Merlin Olsen, you'd love that when a big guy, you didn't want him coming right at you.
He is a powerful man. If you look at the size of those big thighs and good solid calves on him, I'll tell you, he is all physical specimen. He can run over some big people and make them hurt.
What's your collar size?
I wear about a 18 now, 18 and a half.
He has a 21.
Yep. 2 sets of shoulders.
A yoke.
Yeah.
Up the middle and nothing there for Allen. Shut off by Rulon Jones. Number 75.
The Broncos love to slant and slide those defenses. Bring it inside, number 71. You see them all sliding to their left on that particular play. And Rulon Jones, number 75, able to come all the way inside from his defensive end position to meet the ball carrier almost at the line of scrimmage. Jones has not been as effective during this season as he was last year, and a highly intense player. There are a lot of people wondering if maybe he's not trying to shoulder too much responsibility this year.
3rd and 2.5, incomplete, and Todd Christensen, 2 men on him, and the ball wasn't near him anyway.
Todd Christensen having some troubles today. You hear the boos. He's playing with a hand. He's dislocated the pointer finger on his right hand. That's why he's wearing the gloves today. Of course, here he's getting a lot of trouble from Ricky Hundley, number 98, 48, Randy Robbins, who know how much Christensen means to this offensive team. And believe me, they're not going to give him much room out there.
Stan tallied a punt. The boos were directed more at Mark Wilson for being so far off the mark. Good kick. Johnson back at the 23, or is this Natil? Natil upended at the 34-yard line. Ricky Natil, and the Broncos have the ball with a 13-0 lead. Timeout here last year.
Not a great road record, and certainly something they'd like to see straightened out.
Now the Broncos, who have had the ball 3 times and have scored all 3 times in this game, open at their own 34. Good play defensively. Steve Sewell did not have a chance to even get near the line of scrimmage as Howie Long just buried the inner blocking. There's Gerald Wilhite, who had that severely fractured ankle leg at Minnesota when dragged down from behind by Joey Browner. And now the news, Dennis Smith out with a broken forearm today. Mike Haynes, they x-rayed the arch. It's not broken. He may be able to return. Jeff Barnes, the Raider linebacker, severely sprained ankle, out for the game. movement that time. Howie Long had a beat on Elway. Malcolm Taylor, defensive lineman, charging off side.
Field is actually in pretty good shape, Dick, considering what it could be with that big UCLA-USC game here yesterday and 2 U2 concerts here in the Coliseum during the week. A lot of what you see down there is painted dirt, but so far it has not been a problem for people to keep their feet out there.
Flores gesturing that the center moved the ball. That's what pulled my man offside. Gene Lang shooting up the middle was 1 block away from a big gainer as McCall and Long made the hit.
Mike Freeman starting in on center job there, having real problems with Bill Pickell.
The other late games, the battle up in the Kingdom, Seattle leading the first place Chargers, and the Giants have a 7-3 lead down in New Orleans where the Saints, boy, they're aglow with a winning season in the works. Something they've never enjoyed.
They're absolute first. Elway out of the shotgun again.
3rd and 4. A long 3. And he misses Kay, the tight end. So for the first time, the Broncos bring their punting unit on the field. Mike Horan averaging just under 40 yards a punt this year.
Sigh of relief from the Raiders sideline. They have not been able to slow Elway and the Broncos down a great deal during the first half of this ball game.
At the other end, Chris Woods, number 88 for the Raiders. He's at his 15. Ooh, just got that one away. Woods. Oh, was he hit? He didn't take the fair catch. And Jim Ryan. Oh, my.
Nearly a big play as Greg Townsend came very close to blocking that punt. Then things turn around. You've got to wonder how Chris Woods held on. Watch the shot he takes here from 50. Ryan. Oh, that
even
hurts.
in slow motion.
Ooh.
Bill Shoemaker with that dramatic win in the $3 million Classic. And talking about, Shoemaker and being one of the great athletes of all time, it was really interesting to compare him with these. And there's a flag down as Bo Jackson picks up yardage. And what they say about Shoemaker, and how many times have you heard this, regardless of the sport, the quality of the great athlete, and that is the steadiness, the emotional steadiness. He never shows you when he's up or down. It's always level, and he has that look that he'll always be good.
The other thing he doesn't do very often is make mistakes. And as you see here, looking on the field, the Raiders ticketed again for a mistake.
Number 51, 10 yards, still pushed out.
And they mark it back to the 15-yard line where Wilson and company will start in the hole, and this is what the Broncos like. They'll tee off. Keep your eye on Mecklenburg. This is where they try to free him up, number 77. Marcus Allen on the screen. Out to the 25-yard line. Fletcher and Mecklenburg tacklers.
Dick, this defense is not really the powerful kind of defense that we have associated so often with the Denver Broncos. It's a defense in transition. Joe Collier rebuilding this defense. Some key players gone from last year. As you see the screen pass to Marcus Allen. One thing that you still see in evidence is a lot of hustle. There are 3 Denver Broncos out there, even on the screen pass, to help be a part of that tackle.
The consistent Marcus Allen now has caught a pass in 63 games in a row. Underneath to James Lofton, and that'll be good for a first down. And this quiet Coliseum crowd has a chance to try to help the Raiders along.
As badly as the Raiders have played, you said it earlier, they're only 2 touchdowns away from the lead, and they need to get the first one right away as Mark Wilson looking at getting his team down the field, getting something started here.
Seahawks now lead by 14, trying to cut into that 2-game advantage the Chargers enjoy atop the AFC West. And it's New Orleans now in front of the Giants in the second. Here at 13-0 Denver. Bo Jackson tripping over his own man, Marcus Allen. Allen blocking, was down on the ground, and Jackson falling over his teammate.
Todd Christensen is not known really as a blocker, and certainly you wouldn't expect him to really stick his body in there, especially with that finger dislocated and 8 stitches in that hand. But on that last play, he was right in there, sticking his head in there and blocking on Simon Fletcher, big linebacker.
Big Don Mospar, number 72, the center, Pro Bowler. And Wilson to throw on 2nd and 9. Dumps it off to Marcus Allen. And he generates about 6 out of the play across the 45-yard line. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Los Angeles Raiders and the National Football League is prohibited. 3rd and 3. Plus 1 costly fumble when he was blindsided that led to the only touchdown of the game, Elway. They got him for the 2nd sack of the game, back at the 37. Simon Fletcher, 73. 2nd plus the sack on the fumble. That's right, 3 in this first half.
They're coming with the blitz, and Mark Wilson, who has never been a highly mobile quarterback, simply can't get away from Simon Fletcher. But you saw an awful lot of white jerseys in there, and that's one thing that this Bronco defense has never been afraid to do, and that's to come after a quarterback, especially one who is not known for his mobility.
Stan Talley, the punter, on with Vance Johnson back at the Denver 19. .21-yard line. Fumble. Los Angeles gets its first break of the game. Lyndon King, number 52.
Just 6 weeks ago, these Raiders were number 1 in the NFL with a +6 on the turnover ratio. They came into this game as a -7. They have lost that much ground. Well, they finally get one to come back their direction here. Good hit right there on the top. That's Andy Parker, number 81, who hit the arm there and broke that ball loose. Gives them an opportunity now, scoring position at the 35-yard line.
Lyndon King, the ex-San Diego Charger, has done a good job here with the Raiders. Apparently, the instant replay folks are taking another look at this one. At the 35-yard line, if it belongs to the Raiders.
Certainly no question about when that ball was out of the hands. It was popped free very early. One of the challenges that has been issued to these Raiders is to be a little less predictable. A lot of the defenses around the league feeling that there is indeed predictability and a lot of tendencies that they're able to follow with the Raider offense. There's the ball being stripped away. You see Andy Parker, number 81, reaching in, getting a hand on that football. No question about that one.
So the punt return fumble. Joe Brown of the NFL office. Fritz Graff, you see Joe Brown in your picture there. Marcus Allen in motion. Oh, look at this, a little reverse. He's got running room. Bo Jackson. Oh, look at him run over the tackle. Oh, Jackson, touchdown. Oh, my.
And look at those eyes. Just look at those eyes.
His first NFL touchdown, and look at him run over Mike Harden.
Beautiful block by Holloway, 76 right here. But there's the power we talked about. That's one that Harden won't forget for a long time.
Boy, that'll turn boos to bows in a hurry. And suddenly the Raiders are back in the game on his initial NFL score. A very impressive rumble. Barr adds the extra point, and we have a new game.
Just to recount, only the second touchdown in the first half by these Raider regulars in the last 7 games now.
That's a play the Broncos didn't see on film. A new one for this game, and it pays off. Just heard someone with a voice much like yours say that the Raiders were trying not to be so predictable, and they throw that play in.
Well, they certainly weren't on that play. That's a new one, and caught them unawares.
You were right on that, and Jackson has a 35-yard touchdown. It's 13-7. Vance Johnson. He stopped inside the 20 at the 18-yard line. Vance Mueller, number 42.
NFL rankings for the Broncos and the Raiders. Just look at the total percentages on the outside, where they rank in the league. The Broncos on offense, the number 2 offense in the NFL, and the Raiders, surprisingly,
that is surprising,
number 6. The Broncos 16th in defense, the Raiders 3rd. But remember, these are yardage figures, not score, and the Broncos tend to give up a lot of yardage with their style of defense. A lot more in the way of points than they'd like to recently, too.
But if you looked at those statistics, you would think it would be the Raiders who are 5-3-1 and the Broncos 3-6. Elway unloads. He's got Natil out there. Intercepted by Lionel Washington. Good coverage.
A year ago, that probably would have brought a yellow flag, but the defender, with his head away from the quarterback, is tracking the ball all the way. You see him going up right there to get a hand on that football, and really that's one rule, and one of the few in the last 4 or 5 or maybe longer than that years that has helped the defensive players instead of the offensive
You've been
players.
noting that, haven't you?
I've noticed that, Dick.
With 6 minutes, 9 seconds left in the half, a 13-7 Denver lead. Elway again using that mobility, and what a catch over the middle by Clarence Kay, the tight end, and a first down at the 30.
A few years back, when you got ready to play these Denver Broncos, you'd say, don't worry about the tight ends. They don't catch the football. Not true anymore. Clarence Kay having a real impact now as a receiver as well as a blocker. He's always been a fine blocker, has become an excellent receiver.
Kay's second catch today. He has 20 on the year. Gene Lang just shy of the 35-yard line.
This is one of the things you have to do if you're going to run a lot out of if you're going to play a lot out of that shotgun or spread, as Dan Reeves would call it, formation. You've got to be able to run the ball effectively as well as throw it. The Broncos have apparently put in a number of their running plays from that spread formation and have done a pretty good job with them here
Makes
today.
you wonder, Merlin, if with a quarterback like Elway, if this isn't going to be the offense of the NFL future. We're seeing more and more and more now. Elway and the Broncos going to it on first down as well as 3rd and long. On the ground again. Well, that was Sewell. He was jitterbugging, but the only partners had black jerseys on.
Got to wonder what goes through a running back's mind as he gets to the line of scrimmage and realizes there's just nowhere to go. Watch number 30, Sewell, taking the inside handoff, and at this point, all he can see is a wall of bodies as they were able to stuff it. Rod Martin, 53, is there. Hard to see who else was there, but
Matt Millen.
Well, he's always at the bottom of those stacks. Had a very fine game against San Diego last week.
3rd and 4 for Elway. Oh, he ran into his own man. He's still on his feet. And there's Sewell, a first down at the 49. How do you do? John Elway, and Sewell is cracked hard.
One of the players that the Broncos worry about because he's an upright player. He's a big target, Dan Reeves' words. But let's look at what Elway does here. This is what separates him from so many other quarterbacks in the league. Such great dexterity physically as he just pulls himself out of a certain sack and gets out to make the throw to find the open receiver. There's the hit. Looked like kind of a whiplash on the ground. By the way, here's the shot with Robinson. Whoop. Well, we lost him there. There's the collision. Now we're back to live action.
Gene Lang picking up about 8 yards. If we can still go back to the play, the first replay where you see him over the middle. That was exactly the play there. As Sewell comes out of the backfield, gets knocked down. Here it is. Now watch what he does. He gets knocked down by Jerry Robinson. Now as he gets up, he's lost the buckle on his chin strap. Look at that. He's getting that back. Okay, now I'm ready to go. And then he gets into the pattern, makes the catch, and apparently looks like he might have been hitting his shoulder or neck there as he went down.
Well, maybe in the mouth. It looked like it maybe caught a knee as he went down. Oh!
Gene Lang on his way. All the way to the 13-yard line, and the Broncos are moving again. Lionel Washington made the tackle.
Running game has not been a great strength for these Broncos since the early part of the season. They ran very well in their first 2 ball games, but here they're using that running game effectively. They have the Raiders thinking pass, and Gene Lang just fires right up through the middle, gets away from Van McElroy, 26. Lionel Washington, 48, finally takes him down.
28 yards for Lang.
That almost would have made him the leading rusher last week against the Bears. Elway had that mark with 35 yards last week against Chicago.
Final minutes, first half. Denver trying to build its 13-7 lead. Wide open underneath. Ricky Nattiel at the 5-yard line. Let's see how things are going up in Seattle to NFL Live.
Win.
We saw Ray Guy have to down his
Ray
own
Guy
punt.
down one of his own, but he did have a win.
Sandy Winder on second and about 3 is short of the first down as the Broncos are inside the Raider 5 on third and about 1.
Do you think Rusty Tillman talked to him when he came off the field up there in Seattle? Right now, there'll be some conversation with these Raider defenders who are allowing an awful lot of yardage here as the Broncos just seem to be ripping and tearing heading down the field.
The 2-minute timeout. Broncos threatening, and they lead by 6. Halftime, as well as the news for some of you. 3rd and 1 at the 4-yard line for Denver, and Elway sneaks forward for the first down. He's to the 2-yard line. Boy, what a charge as he went in behind the left guard, Keith Bishop.
All the action going right. Elway going back to the left, using his athletic skill. He's such a strong runner for a quarterback. Look at him, just pick that ball up and kind of sift those hips and sidle it through there just like a running back would do it.
4 shots from the 2. And Elway is right on the goal line. Touchdown.
Same play. Same kind of results as Elway gets over the top, and he stuck that football out in front of him, broke the plane of the goal. Hands go up. Elway heads to the sideline.
Boy, they're really blowing the Raiders back to open that kind of hole on the goal line, and Elway charging in behind his center, Mike Freeman, Keith Bishop, the left guard, and the birthday boy Dave Studdard at left tackle. It was a very impressive 82-yard drive by the Broncos when the Raiders had some momentum. Carlos adds the extra point. 1 minute 31 seconds left for the Raiders to try to eat into that 20-7 Bronco advantage.
I think the one thing that really surprises me most looking down this field today is how unemotional in the offensive line, and you have a mobile quarterback like an Elway, you cover some of those problems. If you don't have that mobility, they magnify for you.
I'm going to ask you what, after this kickoff, trade Elway for Wilson and put them on different teams. How would that impact these two teams? Whoop! Mueller from the 6. And he's able to get it out to the 20. Boy, he did make amends all the way to the 27-yard line. Vance Mueller from Occidental College, where he was a long jumper of some 25 feet. And after making a mistake, he almost turned it into a long play. Tim Lucas made the tackle.
Rush of adrenaline. I'll tell you, he's panicked at that moment. And there's some extra energy that goes in, and very often you see that. The timing broken on the play, and a little superhuman effort there from Mueller to get them fairly decent position.
1 minute 22 seconds remaining in the half. The Raiders have all 3 timeouts. Bo Jackson and Marcus Allen, with Bo Jackson into the pattern. Instead they go this side to Doki Williams. Downs at the Denver 47.
Mark Haynes expecting Doki to go out of bounds, played him to do so, and Doki fouled him up, turned back inside, and got an extra 10 or 12 yards out of the play. Sideline, long pass, Wilson very accurately thrown, and there's the play. Mark Haynes got a handful of towel as Doki got the extra yardage, finally driven out by Jim Ryan.
25 yards on that play for Williams. Look at that, 4 touchdowns in his 12 catches. Wilson to this side to Bo Jackson. He steps out of bounds after a gain of 3.
Let's go back to answer that question you asked about what would happen if these quarterbacks switched roles, if suddenly John Elway appeared in a Raider uniform. I've got to tell you, I think Elway would drool at the possibility of having Bo Jackson and Marcus Allen behind him, both of whom are good receivers, of having a Doki Williams, of having a James Lofton, a Mervyn Fernandez, a Todd Christensen. The offensive tools on this Raider team are wonderful. They are not being utilized, and in part because of the problems at quarterback.
Good throw there as Lofton in traffic takes a hit from Randy Robbins playing for the injured Dennis Smith, but it's good for a first down.
Let's flip that equation the other way and ask what would happen if suddenly Mark Wilson were to be quarterbacking this Bronco team.
Wait a minute, I just heard a collective thud. There are tens of thousands of Denver fans who just fell off their couch with that rhetorical
They said, please,
thought.
don't do this to us. Huh? Well, that's exactly
We're not
it.
being nasty on Mark Wilson, but who would want to trade Elway anyway? Probably Merlin, I'm not saying this without thinking of it. I can think of only one coach, if he were honest, who wouldn't trade his quarterback straight up for Elway, and that's Marino and Shula.
I think so. I think you're right, accurate in that. I think Shula is very happy because of what he has built down there in terms of a pass offense with what Marino can do, which is substantial. But I think legitimate. Well, and the other, what about Buffalo? Now, there's a possibility that Kelly might be that same kind of quarterback, but right now, I think those are the only questions that would be asked around the league. The rest of the coaches would say, yeah, send him Red Rover, send Elway right over.
We look at John Elway, NFL Live, Bob, Ahmad, and Paul with a look at this day's activities in the National Football League.
And as exciting as it is to see what Elway can do for a team, the one thing that would frighten me as a Denver fan, as a Denver coach, even as a member of that offense, is what would happen if suddenly Elway were to be injured. It certainly would be a devastating blow, perhaps a crippling blow to their chances in the playoffs. In fact, no question about that. I don't even think we have to say that.
Wilson, meanwhile, trying to get something for the Raiders with exactly a minute left in the first half, trailing 20-7. Dumps it off to Marcus Allen, has some blocking. 20, 10, out of bounds at the 1-yard line. Marcus Allen, a zigzag effort as he meandered down the far sideline. And it's first and goal for the Raiders.
Let's give Mark Wilson and this Raider offense their due. They put together an excellent drive in this 2-minute time. Mark getting that ball into Marcus's hands, and oh, what a fluid runner he is. Almost over that end line.
Haynes saved the touchdown, first and goal, 31 yards on that play. Bo Jackson, NFL touchdown.
There's some emotion. There's a little of that fire. More than anything else, what these Raiders have to rekindle if they're going to put themselves back in the winning race is the kind of confidence that they used to exude when they walked onto the football field and said, we're winners, and look out, we're going to take this game away from you.
The punctuation mark on the touchdown added by Barr. It's 20-14 on a most important drive culminated by that man, Bo Jackson from Auburn University. Instead of 27, now they're only down by less than a touchdown.
I asked Bo Jackson at practice the other day what he wanted to do during the rest of this season. He said, I just want to play. Well, he can do that.
Boy, Tom Flores rarely animated. He's fighting from deep inside his soul for this one.
Dan Bogosian, the offensive line coach, a little happy with that too, as his boys opened the way for that play.
46 seconds remain. It took the Raiders only 45 seconds to go 72 yards in 5 plays. They had a couple of big plays. One, the 25-yard pass to Dopey Williams, and the 31-yard screen pass to Marcus Allen. It's been entertaining. Ricky Nattiel and Ken Bell are back as Chris Barr tees it up. So at times it appeared the Broncos might gallop away with this one in Los Angeles, but the Raiders have come back to score 2 touchdowns here in the second period. And a good high kick by Barr. Ken Bell in trouble. Gets out of it. And is out of bounds at the 22 or 3-yard line, but a flag is down where one would expect this is against the Broncos. James Davis ran him out of bounds.
With a very little time on the board, some 40 seconds, starting inside their own 10-yard line. I think we're probably going to see this ball just run on the ground, or perhaps just the clock eaten up by the Broncos in Elway. Big touchdown.
Illegal block on the return, number 46, half the distance of the goal line, first down.
Todd Christensen on the kick return.
Again, I'll mention the stat we put up earlier that the Raider offense, since they returned from the strike, had really only managed to put up 1 touchdown, a total of 10 points in the last 6 games. They've got 2 touchdowns here.
Was the other 46, Bobby Mitchell. Lang protecting the football as the Broncos try to chew up the final seconds. Down to 30 seconds remaining, and the Raiders, just in case, will call time. Rod Martin makes that last tackle. Seattle at the half now with a 2-touchdown lead over the Chargers, and New Orleans at the half leading the Giants, who are in a do-or-die game every Sunday, by 6.
Dick, I saw Al Davis, the managing partner of these Raiders, down on the sideline before the game, and they were running up on the Diamond Vision board high above the stadium highlights of Super Bowl 11, and I had to wonder what was going through his mind. A team that had just lost 6 straight games, a team with so much proud tradition and not much to show for that at this point in the season. And I could see him looking up, and I'm sure going through his head with a question about whether they're going to get back to the kind of dominance that they have had so many times during this Raider history in the NFL.
Well, they've not been embarrassed at all in Los Angeles to parade out the banners, commitment to excellence. You could probably count 50, 60 of them around the track today. Commitment to excellence, the Raider theme. And when you lost 6 in a row, there you see them in the background. Pretty tough to kind of look at those squared away if you're an LA Raider fan or player.
You keep having the feeling that someone may spray paint those with something else.
Final seconds. Broncos don't want to take any chances. And we certainly have a game very much in question at 20-14 at the intermission.
One of the things you always sense when a team, and the Broncos certainly have done this, who seemingly have been able to dominate play, do not dominate on the scoreboard. That very often comes back to haunt them in the second half of a game.
So Tom Flores, when things seem to be going emotionally bad for him, able to get a real lift by that last touchdown drive, and the Raiders regaining some of the momentum. And Dan Reeves, who was concerned anyway coming in, he said, boy, I don't ever want to play the Raiders when they've lost 6 in a row. But he's in front by 6 at the intermission at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. Then a steady man. And
Yes,
that's his leadership technique. Now we see a different Flores at the end of the first half.
I think what you're seeing is a reaction by Flores to the needs of this team. They're down, they're flat, they needed to be pumped up, and you see Flores giving them a little of that emotion, even though it's a little out of character for him. I think he knows how important it is. That's one thing the Raiders need a lot more of right now is leadership.
That's like the coach who says, I got to do something to stir my team, and I'm going to just round my fist into this door, make sure it's wooden. Budweiser's kickoff on its way. Chris Barr kicks it off. Denver gets the ball first here in the second half. The kickoff sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. And Ricky Nattiel is out to the 25-yard line. Boy, Budweiser has been such a good friend to all of us in sports television, and of course prominent yesterday in its support of the Breeders' Cup Classic over at Hollywood Park. John Elway, a real thoroughbred. Counting sheep, eh, Merlin? I bet you got to 7 and stopped, huh?
Yeah, it's what comes before 7.
He wanted to lateral back as he was turned on the tackle by Jerry Robinson. Let's look at the statistics of the first half.
Chance to glance down as both teams have done a better job. The Raiders certainly in rushing that football, as you see in the second quarter. Passing yardage has also improved for the Raiders as a result of that long drive just before the half. Total yardage almost dead even at the half. Turnovers equal on each side, and of course the score pretty equal as we start into the second half.
2 fumbles. Each team scored a touchdown after the recovery. Elway in trouble. Still gets it away into an open spot, and there was a receiver close enough. Vance Johnson.
Number 75, Howie Long, who has provided such a spark for this defense over the past years, has not really been getting the kind of pressure that we expect out of him. One reason in this ball game is he's got a couple of guys dogging him out there. Kenny Lanier, Stephen Humphreys, number 79. Their job to keep Howie away from that quarterback. But I got to tell you, I didn't see the kind of explosive get-off and the kind of emotional intensity that have typified his play over the last few years. He's come back. He's starting to play better as the season progresses, but I think the Raiders were really hurt more than a lot of teams by the strike, Rick.
But occupying 2 men in the play, that did allow Sean Jones to get to Elway. Now it's 3rd down and 7. Elway down to 16. Greg Townsend, number 93, his 4th and a half sack this year.
Townsend, the fastest of those Raider down linemen. They love to bring him in a pass rushing situation. You need that speed to counter Elway. Townsend will get him from the left side of your picture, number 93. Watch Elway, who tries to stay in. Pressure from this side from Sean Jones. He had to step up to get away from Jones and stepped right into the rush of number 93, Greg Townsend.
That's only the 10th sack of Elway all season. And now Horan to punt. Chris Woods in the other direction.
Short kick.
Woods, who is a gambling return man. The ball hit him. It's a live ball, and he recovers at the 46-yard line.
Just watching the Raiders come out and start this second half, I would bet that there was an emotional charge of some kind in that locker room, because defensively they stepped right out on the field and took charge at the line of scrimmage. They're lucky to avoid a problem here as Woods tried to step away from that ball, had it hit him, and then had to get on it or risk losing it to the Broncos. Let's see now if the offense of the Raiders is equal to what the defense has done here in the second half.
37-yard punt, so the Raiders start at the 46 of Denver, trailing by 6. Bo Jackson. Oh, a runner. 3 men just carried. I don't think those men can run that fast on their own, but what a ride that Jackson gave them.
When a player picks up a team, he makes everyone better. Watch James Lofton, number 80, become a blocker here on Tony Lilly, number 22. Well, he just had to bounce him a little bit and set him up because Bo was there and Bo was ready to carry 3 or 4 of them. That'll pick you up in a hurry. You can feel already an emotional difference on the field for the Raiders.
Jackson having a big day, only 7 carries. Here he comes again the other way, and they get him from behind as Simon Fletcher able to get him by an arm, and then Ricky Hundley there to finish him off.
The injury to Freddie Gilbert, who had been playing at that left end position, had forced some changes in that defensive line for the Broncos. They had to take Greg Cragen, plug him back in at the nose, and moved Andre Townsend back out to the end position. Simon Fletcher, who played in a down line position, gradually working in to be the kind of linebacker that Joe Collier wants him to be.
Second and 11 for Wilson. Christensen, and a good defensive play. No, it wasn't. Now the flag comes in. It's Mike Harden a bit too soon in his contact with the receiver.
Mike Harden on the cover.
Mark Wilson showing some patience as he waited on that pass.
Pass interference. Defense. First down.
Watch the end of this play. Contact, as you saw, from number 31 Harden, who is not allowed to go through Todd Christensen. Todd knows those drills pretty well.
And he's probably as good as any tight end in the business at that hook pattern where he goes down, turns, and it's almost like a big power forward or center in the blocks in basketball getting position for the rebound.
He uses his body extremely well to position himself where that ball can be thrown to him where it's hard for them to get to it.
Bo Jackson inside the 15-yard line, a gain of about 6 on first down, and Jackson drawing ever so close to a 100-yard rushing game on just a limited number of carries, and would thus accomplish something that no Bronco opponent has done all year.
You just feel the energy when you look at those eyes. I'll tell you, there are people who will ask, I think, after a game like this, young man, why did you think you wanted to play baseball?
With that average, over 10 yards per carry. Not this time.
Maybe
Jim
there's
Ryan
part of the answer, Dick.
and Carl Mecklenburg. They were expecting Jackson to get the ball, and they might be assigning a spy to Jackson now to make sure that someone's always with him.
He gets a lot of company here as he starts to his right and instantly draws a crowd. Mecklenburg is there along with Jim Ryan, and the two of them put a real hammerlock on Bo Jackson. But I tell you, the problem with focusing in on one back is there's another back there with a 32 on his back that can kill you if you don't pay attention to him.
Big play. Trailing 20-14. Into the end zone to Christensen, too far. Coverage by Steve Wilson. So Chris Barr comes on for the field goal try. That would cut the lead to 3. I'll just throw this in now because it has been part of the history recently of these two teams. The last 5 times they've played, 3 of them have gone into overtime.
It's an NFL record. Those were 3 consecutive games. And this is a blood rivalry. These two teams not very fond of each other on the field or off the field.
Is there anyone fond of the Raiders?
Well, Al Davis likes them.
Outside of Los Angeles, Chris Barr knocks home 3, and a flag is down.
Men on the field, defense.
Now that'll make it 4th and 1, and that'll force the hand of Tom Flores. Do you want to try for it on 4th and 1, or do you take the sure 3?
Well, there is an old axiom about never taking points off the board, but I'm sure that that's the question being asked. They're going to, well, he said, wave off the penalty. They're refusing the penalty. They're going to take the points.
With this much time remaining, the Raiders, with 10:29 left in the 3rd period, will take the sure thing.
They'll take the points on the board. I don't blame them.
20-7.
Rededicated to giving you the service you deserve. Come fly the friendly skies.
And with 10 minutes and 20 seconds left in the 3rd period, Vance Johnson returns the kickoff. out to his own 28-yard line. Steve Strahan makes the tackle for the Raiders, who trail now by only 3. The Broncos early in the game had built a 13-0 lead and were right on the doorstep from a 17-0 advantage.
Raiders came out very emotionally defensively for that first stand. Let's see if they can sustain it here. Right now, Elway's got to think about getting something moving. Move down that field. Take charge of this game here in the second half.
Elway on first down, shotgun again. Oh, what a shot. That ball just went right through the hands of Vance Johnson and drilled him in the chest. A bullet from Elway.
Elway sometimes throws that ball so hard. You see Dan Reeves on the sideline. He calls the plays. Mike Shanahan, his offensive coordinator, will be communicating with him from upstairs, but basically Dan has control in his hand. You see that piece of paper? That's his ready list. That's his ammunition.
Pressure, gets it off to Jackson, and a flag is down. Jackson at the 44-yard line, wrapped up by Sammy Seal. Seal playing for the injured Mike Haynes, who left the game early with a arch injury. Offense or defense?
Holding defense, number 30 is declined. Completed pass, first down.
Stacy Turan away from the play on the hold. Of course, Denver will take the play and a first down out at the 49.
A timing pattern as Elway has this ball in the air before the back even turned. You see him coming back to the play there as Mark Jackson does a good job. Characteristic of Raider receivers who were taught and have done for so well come back to the football. Charlie Sumner with the headset on there will be calling the Raider defenses from the Raider sideline.
Sammy Winder, the tailback, and he gets the toss. And a nice hole for him as he goes to the Raider 48-yard line. Close to a first down. Van McElroy in the secondary with the tackle. Seahawks now lead by 3 touchdowns. San Diego playing without Dan Fouts. And the Giants have regained the lead at the Superdome. Here it's 20-17. Denver over the Raiders with 9 minutes, 12 seconds left, third quarter. 2nd and 2. Winder drilled, and for a moment looked as if that ball is going to shoot free. Sean Jones and Lyndon King.
Lyndon King coming into this game had 25 tackles in the past 2 weeks. Number 52 right in the middle of your screen, stepping back up as Winder tried to cut back against the grain, and he and Sean Jones just made a sandwich right there of Sammy Winder.
3rd down and 1. Denver successful on 5 of 9 third down conversions. The Raiders haven't converted once today in 6 drives. Easily into the 44-yard line goes Winder for the first down.
Number 62 Mike Freeman, the center, the new center this week, is given a chance to start in there, working against Bill Pickell. Watch it right here. He just do a body slam as he turns Pickell around, locks him up, and drives him to the ground. In the middle of the action, a lot of holding going on that is never seen, but Mike Freeman fighting for his life in there, trying to do the best job he can. Larry Lee has been the starter there the last 3 or 4 weeks after the injury to Billy Bryant, the regular Denver center. Flea flicker.
They threw back to Mark Jackson, and a gain of 8 yards on the play. Linden doing a job as a side judge today. Gene Lang, nothing there. Jerry Robinson, number 57, has had another big game for the Raiders.
Moved from the outside linebacking position to an inside linebacking position, and not as well suited physically to that job. Accepts it, and certainly is going to give you 100%. Great speed from the inside, his primary asset. I'll tell you, he's a hitter too.
Bad news, Steve Sewell, a fractured jaw. So two key starters, one on offense, one on defense, with broken bones in this game. Fractured jaw Sewell. Dennis Smith, the safety man of the Broncos, a broken forearm. Elway on 3rd and 4. Wide open, and then it's intercepted by McElroy. Van McElroy, the man appeared to be breaking into the clear. A flag is down, and McElroy from his free safety position diving for his 3rd interception of the year, but from his reaction, it's going to be called back.
Away. The holding call goes against the Raiders, who are beginning to wonder if maybe they aren't being ganged up on by these guys in the striped shirts.
That would have been his 25th career theft, but instead the 5 yards for holding.
Holding, defense, number 48, 5 yards, first down.
Lionel Washington. Yep, McElroy freed up in his safety position. The one-on-one matchup on the outside. McElroy able to read Elway's eyes and watch him cut off this pass as he steps in front of the intended receiver, gets both feet down, but the Broncos get the football back.
And a first down with it at the Raider 33. A 3-point game. Lang, stop, hold. Sean Jones, number 99, and 57. Robinson in on another hit with 6:19 left in the 3rd quarter.
Well, they're really thrashing it out down in the middle of that line. Howie Long, 75. Piquel, they do a good job of burying Piquel. Bishop, number 54. Mike Freeman driving him off the ball, but not a lot of room for Gene Lang on that play. You notice that Lang is wearing one of those plexiglass shields over his eyes. Looks like he got a big pair of sunglasses out there.
On this sunny day in Southern California, it comes in handy. Winder in motion, and the Raiders are offside.
Free play.
Vance Johnson. He was covered by Lionel Washington. Raiders offside. Elway went through with it. Figured nothing could go wrong for him. It was all good.
Such a heady quarterback. He really has grown in his ability to think on the field. He knew it was a free play, and he was going to take it.
Elway, who grew up here near the Coliseum, over in the San Fernando Valley.
Encroachment, offside, defense, 5 yards, still settled down.
Someone doesn't agree with that. Sounded like Lyndon King, number 52, who was arguing. There's Gene Lang, number 33. See if we can't. There it is. There's that. It's like his Darth Vader look.
Something out of Starlight Express.
That does protect those eyes, though.
Out of the backfield. And only a yard gain on the play as Stacy Perrant hits Lang and pushes him out of bounds. Well, that's a tough catch. You're running, turning back toward the quarterback, and then you've got to handle one of those sizzlers. You can hear those passes coming.
Hey, that's where those running backs and receivers earn their money, too, when they have to take that pass and put themselves in a position where they are vulnerable to the hit by those defensive backs. Short yardage unit onto the field.
3rd and 2. Raider fans are starting to get into this one.
Very close.
Winder up the middle. And just when it appeared he had a good sized hole, Howie Long came over to help out on the pile, and it suddenly stopped. Piquel was in there as well, 71.
Raiders doing a good job of stopping the action at the line of scrimmage. Howie in there, Piquel in there, Matt Millen, 55 in there.
You see that lockup with Freeman and Piquel? They had their elbows interlocked. Who was holding whom? 4th and 1, and Carlos will try to get the field goal back that the Raiders scored earlier in this 3rd period. 2 for 2 today, 12 for 14 on the year. This one will be 41 yards. It is no good. Wide to the left. remains 20-17. 5 minutes left in the quarter. 41 yards, and the Raiders take over at the line of scrimmage, the 24, trailing by a field goal with 5 minutes plus remaining in the third period.
Dick, as concerned as Dan Reeves is about maintaining his lead in this game, he's got to start to worry. On the injury list right now, Steve Watson, Billy Bryant, Gerald Wilhite, Dennis Smith, and Steve Sewell. That list gets a little ugly.
And those are top-notch players, key players. Marcus Allen diving off the left side to the 29. Other late games. Two others, along with this one. Dallas and Miami play later this evening. Seattle building its lead to 27-3 in the fourth. And the Giants by 1 at New Orleans.
This Raider offensive line, we mentioned that Don Mospar, the center, the only one who really came into that position from last year's offensive line. They've had 3 weeks together. They're playing a little bit better every week.
Wilson to Christensen, first down at the 37. Ricky Hunley, the tackler.
You talk to an offensive line coach, he said very often it's not as much the quality of the athletes, although you like the quality athletes, as much as it is the cooperation, the teamwork that has to take place with those offensive linemen. They've got to understand each other and anticipate each other, or otherwise you've got real problems.
Yeah, no different than a baseball infield or a basketball 5. You've got to really know what the other man's going to do and anticipate with him. Christensen's first catch, a first down at the 38. Marcus Allen trying to get outside. And he's shut off by Ricky Hunley. Well, as you look at this day in the NFL, those that will be featured in bold print, the headliners, and Bo Jackson will be one of them. But Frank Minifield, 3 interceptions as the NFL's #1 defense. Cleveland really bombed Houston, and what a disappointment for Oiler fans who had sold out the Astrodome and really kicked around. 5 sacks and 3 interceptions for the Steelers. They are survivors, and that's a credit to Chuck Noll. They always seem to be up there. They beat Cincinnati in the Boomer.
In spite of those 490 yards, wow.
Marcus Allen, and down low, top him was number 71, Greg Cragen. Other stories today in the NFL. Patriots shutting out. Bills win, so those teams are all 5-5, 4-4, 5-5, 6-6. Will we have anyone with a winning record there to win the East?
Possibility of a team with a losing record going from a division.
No one comes up and says, "Give me 5." You say, "Oh, you must be in the AFC East."
East, definitely.
Third down and 6. The flag is down. Wilson has some running room and gets out of bounds at the 49. That would be a first down, I believe. Very close. Robbins and Mecklenburg ran him to the sidelines. Now the penalty flag.
Defense offsides.
I think they'll take the play.
Well,
if
they're
it's
going to take
down.
the first down. It's more than 5 yards. Dick, this Bronco defense certainly missing Freddie Gilbert. Been playing in there at that left end position, strained the knee. He'll be out, possibly back this next week, but they're trying to cover not only his absence, but the absence of some very fine leaders from that defense from last year's team. Tom Jackson among them. Certainly miss his presence, the inspirational leader of that defense for so many seasons. Mike Harden, whom you saw there, has really kind of started to take over that role, along with number 50, Jim Ryan.
Jim Tunney was trying to convince Harden, the acting captain, but of course Dan Reeves is right there, that it's obviously a first down. And look at Dan Reeves. He said, "Prove it."
I got to tell you, though, sometimes when you're on defense out there, you know it's a first down. You want to rest. You just want to force them. And it's your right as a defensive captain to insist on the measurement. And I think that's what Harden did. Wants to slow down the momentum here.
Yes.
Wants to put the pressure on. It is a first down, but now they've forced that offense to stand around for a while. I think it's to their advantage.
First time that the Raiders have converted on third down today. It came in their 7th try.
Let's finish that thought on the Denver defense. Louis Wright is gone. Steve Foley is gone. Reuben Carter is gone. All of those people, leaders as well as fine players, this defense is a defense in transition, and Joe Collier is pleased with the people he has out there, but right now he is not getting the kind of defensive performance that he has gotten over past seasons, and it shows, quite frankly, in the way this Denver team plays. There's Joe Collier, a man who's given us so many good years of defense, and his defensive concept, a finesse concept, it's like a moving screen in basketball. Everybody's going different directions. He'll give you fits. Although he's had to do one thing this year with all those changes, he's had to try and simplify that defensive concept a little bit.
First down, Raiders at their own 49, trailing by 3 late in the third. Marcus Allen. He's to midfield, and that's all, as number 55, Rick Dennison, and Simon Fletcher there.
Number 34, Bo Jackson, is a blocker on this play, and I don't think he's doing as good a job of blocking for Marcus as Marcus was doing blocking for him. Clay, number 78, the big rookie tackle, gets a good shot there on his man, drives him out of there. That's Mark Haynes. But good defensive play inside out, really shut things off. Second, about 8 yards to go.
Marcus Allen is 53 yards away from becoming the all-time Raider rusher, passing Mark Van Egan. Wilson pumping and going deep. And the pass wobbly, died, and Dokie Williams unable to come up with it. The fans wanted interference. Dokie Williams has been asking to be traded with Mervin Fernandez, who's injured, acquired, and James Lofton. He's not playing much and has been complaining that he wants to be traded. And finally, Al Davis went to Dokie Williams, number 85 of the Raiders, and said, hey, we may be able to satisfy you, but if you don't keep it quiet, we'll send you to someplace snowy. And he hasn't been heard from since.
Well, he really wants to play, and he's getting that opportunity. Fernandez down with a shoulder injury, a chipped bone in the rotator that will keep him on the sideline for a while. And there are those who felt that Dokie was going to earn his chance back in the lineup in spite of that. And here he is today, playing very well. Look out.
Steve Wilson on a corner blitz, and down goes Wilson. So Steve Wilson on Mark Wilson.
And it's at a point like that where you have to examine the difference between quarterbacks. A John Elway with great speed and good body strength may have been able to pull out of that particular situation. Mark Wilson had no chance.
Yeah, he's a steady target, isn't he? Fourth sack for the Broncos. Ricky Nattiel drifts back to the 20, and Stan Talley to punt it.
And it really complicates your job. You talk about calling the plays and being predictable. What do you call when you can't protect your quarterback? That's going to go.
Oh, they run into the kicker, and a penalty flag against 59, Tim Lucas. They'll down it at the 3, but the Raiders are going to get the ball back in the penalty. Lucas ran into Talley.
You never want to foul the opposition when they're giving you the football. A rookie mistake, a costly error, an opportunity now for the offense to go back on the field for the Raiders.
Running on the kicker, number 59, 5 yards and first down.
5-yard penalty, but more importantly, a first down that gives the Raiders another chance at their own 48-yard line. There's Lucas from California.
Just a hair away from being a block kick. And what a dramatic turnaround from being a hero. Nobody's standing around that young man right now, but he'll have some company in the meetings tomorrow.
Now Mark Wilson sets him up at the Raider 48. Play action. Dumps it off. Bo Jackson. At the 47 of Denver, a gain of 4 or 5 perhaps.
I wonder why they have gone away from Jackson as a ball carrier, Dick. We saw him running so efficiently at the beginning of this half. Yet here in the last couple of series, they haven't called his number.
The 5 yards in that play gives him 96 for the afternoon, as we're 30 seconds left in the third quarter. His biggest day as a Raider, and one of the most impressive runs of this season on his 35-yard scamper through the Broncos.
There he goes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jerseys finally bring down Bo Jackson at the 45. with 8 seconds left in the third period. All the early finals for you as this third quarter comes to an end at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. And we'll be back after these messages from your local station. Smith with a broken forearm, Steve Sewell with a broken jaw. Start the fourth quarter, 20-17 Denver. This is the 3rd and 4 play, and it's Bo Jackson fighting to the 41 and may have gotten it.
I think he's there.
Not many backs would have picked up 4 with the kind of defense that he looked into.
What a powerful run, and you see him waving to this crowd. Watch the power on this run. Jackson running right through Mecklenburg there. Mike Harden gets another hit, and he just turned those shoulders up and drove himself up for the first down. There's Dennis Smith, already casted, broken right forearm. Great athlete he's been, and he's had injury problems earlier in the year. Broken finger, had leg problems. That's a real blow to this defense.
Marcus Allen to the 38-yard line. Rusty Hilger on the sidelines for the Los Angeles Raiders was the starter at that position beginning of the year. There he is,
standing
to the
behind
backside of Flores.
Larry Keenan, the quarterback coach, who's signaling in. Hilger was heir apparent, was given the shot at the job, but really just could not appear to handle the responsibilities on the field of the quarterback. Look out.
Wilson caught from behind by one leg by Greg Cragen. The nose tackle from Utah State. And there again, an example of the difference in quarterback mobility.
Wilson also, if I could be kind enough in saying this, does not really have the feeling for where the pressure is coming from very often. There's a sensitivity that you have to have as a quarterback, and he just does not have it. The man that was open on that play, and you'll watch him right here, Todd Christensen, gets himself out into an area where had Mark been able to see him, I think he would have been able to get him that ball for a big game.
Denver had only 15 sacks all year. They have 5 today. Wilson throwing to the sidelines to Lofton, incomplete. Steve Wilson and Jeremiah Castile double teaming Lofton. Third quarter statistics as the Raiders will have to give up the ball on downs. Almost dead even in total yards. Time, not much difference there either. The only comparison is that the Raiders have moved the ball on the ground. The Broncos better through the air. The Broncos still clutching to a 3-point lead. Ricky Nattiel back at the 10.
This one will go off the sideline.
Not as good as Talley wanted, to the 14-yard line. So Denver with the ball deep in their own end. Plenty of time. 13 minutes and 3 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. Denver by 3. The ball in the Broncos' hands after the punt at their own 14. Movement before the snap. John Elway started red hot. Remember, we talked about the first quarter statistics. He had passed for 124 yards. You multiply that by 4 and you nearly have a 500-yard game. Well, since then, the last 2 quarters, Elway has only 58 yards.
Some of that slowdown due to a charged up Raider defense, certainly here in this second half. And Elway is cooling down. And Dick, you see that ball almost back to the 5-yard line. I always think of that great drive against the Cleveland Browns when I see Elway in this position.
First and 98 and into the Super Bowl. Gene Lang on first and 15, and Matt Millen drills him at the 13.
Both these teams, if you see the emotional response of Millen there, trying to get that defense pumped again. Gary Robinson, 57, sliding across, getting away from Keith Bishop, 54. He gets a piece of that tackle along with Millen. Van McElroy there as well.
And
got
another
a Bronco on
Broncos
the ground.
down. Oh,
boy,
my.
it has been a tough physical day for these Broncos. This crowd.
We welcome those of you around the country that have been watching the action from the Kingdom. We've got one going here in the Coliseum, and John Elway unloading for Vance Johnson. He's got it at the 38-yard line and down at the 36. Elway throwing the ball 60 yards in the air, and the Broncos, who lead only 20-17, have great field position.
Broncos for so many years carried by their defense, but it's the strong arm of John Elway that really has made the difference in this season, and certainly here today. That's his best of the second half as he gets it to Johnson. But the key to that pass, the great fight for the ball by Vance Johnson, who just went up and out-dueled Washington for that football.
Johnson, who had a 24-yard touchdown catch in the first quarter as the Broncos built a 13-0 lead, then 13-7, then they led 20-7. The Raiders scored just before the half to make it 20-14 and have a field goal. They only score the second half, and this pass almost intercepted by Sam Seal. And the very fact we look at Sam Seal, we can bring you up to date also on the scores and the injury situation. Seal is playing for the injured Mike Haynes, hurt in the first quarter, as you see the other late scores. And for the Denver Broncos, it has been close to disaster for them. A Pro Bowler, Dennis Smith, safety man, out, broken forearm in the first half. Steve Sewell, starting halfback, out, broken jaw in the second half.
Two very important cogs, one on offense and one on defense. You add those to Steve Watson, Billy Bryant, the center, Gerald Wilhite, already out with injuries, and Dan Reeves is dealing with a very serious injury problem.
Elway calls timeout, didn't like the play for the defense, and with 11 minutes and 19 seconds remaining in this fourth quarter at the Coliseum in Los Angeles, it's Denver by 3. Gerald Wilhite injured 4 weeks ago in the game at Minnesota when tackled from behind, broken ankle. 2nd and 10 for Elway. He's got Johnson open again at the 30, 25, and down at the 22. First down, Denver.
The same play that Vance Johnson scored on earlier in the day, coming downfield and coming all the way across against the grain. Watch number 82. He'll come across at the top of your picture right there, just a flash in front of Jerry Robinson, and Elway had that ball out in front of him in appropriate fashion as Johnson. Well, a lot of lateral moves for not much upfield.
Ron Fellows, the ex-Cowboy, finally made the tackle. Leading 20-17. Denver near the 20 of the Raiders. Draw to Winder, and he's hit in the backfield by Bill Pickel.
Nice play off the nose by Pickel.
In the play,
and what he feels. He just got to unload that blocker, and Mike Freeman has had a handful of his jersey a good part of the day. Has done a pretty darn good job on Pickel, but not on that play. Offsides.
Howie Long was offside. Was he drawn? Apparently not. He's not pointing at anyone. There are flags everywhere.
False start. Offense. Right guard.
Oh, the Raiders were pulled offside. 5 yards tacked against the Broncos. It'll be 2nd and 16. This game is featuring many brilliant athletes, but 2 have been particularly outstanding today. Elway, who always can talk that way about the Dan Reeves quarterback, and Bo Jackson is 3 yards away from a 100-yard game, has scored both touchdowns for the Raiders, and we'll show you later, those of you who have just joined us, a touchdown run where he just runs right through a man in open field to score. Elway drills, and it's incomplete. Try to get it to the tight end, Clarence Kay.
2 defenders.
Johnson is open again, and a first down at the 7.
A little bit of hot dog at number 82 as he spun the.
Had a big day today, 4 catches for 112 yards. First and goal, Denver at the 7. Ooh, little fake by Elway. Now he has to throw it away. That was on its way to Gardena.
Yeah, somewhere down it. That may hit all the way out in the ocean.
San Diego, they want to go 6-3-1 and move up in the western fight of the AFC. Winder. The door slams at the 6. Lionel Washington and Van McElroy from the secondary to assist Jerry Robinson, 57. His second time out. This crowd trying to spur the Raiders.
Some confusion, and Reeves not happy with that.
A fumble. He's down. They're ruling it. It's down, but not in the end zone. At the 2, it'll be 4th and goal. It was Johnson again. He's 2 for 3 today. We'll try a short 20-yarder. And Denver's lead is 6. Time out in the Coliseum with 7:05 left. Of course, again today, Merlin. The kind of this
a workhorse. Dick.
In the old days, Merlin, the Raiders would have just loved this. Down by only 6 in the 4th quarter.
They relished the game to take it away from their opponent. But one of the things they've lost in this 6-game losing streak is a lot of their confidence. They don't have that feeling of just give us the opportunity. We'll stick it down your throat, and we're going home with a win here.
Well, they don't have a Jim Plunkett at quarterback now, but they do have that Bo Jackson, Marcus Allen tandem in the backfield.
They still have a lot of tools, and they still have a lot of pride. They're playing for pride right now, and this is an important series for them.
With 7 minutes remaining in the game, the kick comes down to Doki Williams. And he does not get to the 20-yard line. Smothered at the 17. Robinson on the play, and Mitchell. Let's go back. This is a touchdown, the first NFL touchdown by Bo Jackson. A little fake sweep and then reverse the other way. Now watch number 31, Mike Harden. Boom! In the open field, and Jackson with that power, 230 pounds and speed, bolts his way into the end zone, and that really turned on the crowd.
A break for the Raiders as an offside call on the kickoff against the Broncos will force a re-kick. Not a good starting position for the Raiders, and they'll perhaps have a chance to better that. They'll move the ball back 5 yards now, and Carlos will tee it up again.
The Raiders have not scored the regulars any time this year when they've started possession inside the 20, and that's where they would have been had that play stood.
Not the kind of stat you want to look at heavily as an offensive performer. And certainly one of the things that has killed them during this season, their inability to sustain the drive because of mistakes and penalties.
Dan Reeves, now the winningest coach in Denver history, talking with his backup quarterback, Gary Kubiak, of course, is in the communication system. Kubiak to John Elway, they're going over the signals. And now you've asked those special teamers after running downfield to come back and do it all over again, and Carlos will tee it up at the 30.
Opportunity now to at least have a chance. Carlos has improved the strength of his leg, but still occasionally will kick that ball short. The last kickoff was a good deep one. Let's see how far he puts this one down the field.
Vance Mueller on the far side, Doki Williams on the near.
Ooh,
a sidewinder to Mueller at the 5. Right up the middle. And he gets only to the 25-yard line. Good coverage by Mitchell again. Well, Merlin and I will head on to Detroit and then up to Pontiac for our Thanksgiving Day turkey special. The Chiefs and the Lions at noon on Thursday next. Oh my, I want all the white meat I can eat.
We'll save some for you, Dick, I promise.
Maybe even a drumstick.
Looking forward, hoping there's not too much snow back in that part of the country. That's like going home for you back to Michigan.
Hey, I'm a couple of long field goals away from Pontiac where I grew up. Wilson on the screen to Marcus Allen. cutting back inside so deftly to the 38-yard line and a first down. Greg Pragan made the tackle.
The ability to keep your balance when someone whacks into your feet. Marcus Allen showed it again there. Had hands on his feet, knocking at him. He didn't go down. Now watch him here. Watch the feet now. Marcus is going to get a slap right there. Randy Robbins, 48, trying to strip those legs out from underneath him. Marcus with concentration upfield, good body control, picks up the first down.
A dozen on the play. Bo Jackson. And he gets hit. Harden turned him inside, said someone else bigger get him, and Rulon Jones was there.
Mike Harden is not going to be terribly fond of the number of times we've shown that shot by Bo Jackson.
Well, he was only human after all. He's
Well,
given away 30 pounds to a runner coming at him full speed, and that is really full when you talk about Bo Jackson.
Reminiscent of some of the shots we saw when Earl Campbell came into the league and used his body as a battering ram. Mark Wilson bearing down now, 2nd and 8.
Bo Jackson now with 99 yards rushing on the afternoon. Wilson gets away for a moment, but not for long. And there again, the mobility. Rulon Jones has had a very thin year in sacks after leading the Broncos last year with 13 and a half. That's only his 3rd this season.
Rulon Jones is going to go all the way around and come back to get this sack. Now there's the first hit right there by Brooks, Michael Brooks, 56. And Rulon picks up what we call a baggie. They're late, but they're in time. And hey, folks, don't blame Mark Wilson for that. He's not getting protection back there.
The 6th sack today for a team that had only 15 on the year. On 3rd and a long way to go, 22. Wilson to Lofton. The catch is good at the 45, but short of the first down.
But let's see what they decide to do.
It's about 2 yards shy of a first down, and Lofton, the skilled veteran, found his spot on the sidelines, used his toes, and stretched for the catch.
They wanted to think about it, but they're going to kick it away. 4 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock. Lofton stopping just short. An experienced receiver, that surprises me.
At the 45, an apparent punt by Stan Talley. Remember, Denver has 1 timeout left. The Raiders have all 3 of theirs, so Flores saying we should be able to get the ball back one more time. Go get them defense. Natil at the 25-yard line. Mueller secures him. And now the hand rests with the Broncos offense. A field goal would just about put it away. Timeout at 4:42. Finishes at 34-3 to move within 1 game of the Charger lead in the West. There you see it. The Chargers' 8-game winning streak coming to an end, and Denver with a win is only a half game behind Seattle, a game and a half out of first. But the Raiders have designs of their own on trying to break a 6-game losing streak and spoil any fun Denver had planned here in Los Angeles. Elway and the Broncos lead by 6.
Broncos also have 2 games remaining with the San Diego Chargers.
And 1 at Seattle. On the ground, Gene Lang, Jerry Robinson. He's had a handful of tackles today.
Let's set the parameters. Defensively, you've got to get things stopped here. There's a man who knows all about that. Unfortunately, his team has been stopped for the last 6 weeks. Hoping to see them break out of it here today. They need some great defensive performance right now. They're thinking takeaway at worst, 3 downs and punt.
2nd and 7. Shotgun Elway. Used it a lot again today. Handoff, fake handoff to Winder. And Elway throwing for his tight end K, incomplete at the 45. Brendan King on the coverage.
On the other side of the line, the Broncos thinking very simply, eat the clock. If they have to do it with their running game, they're willing to do it. They have to throw the ball, which they realize they're going to have to do here. They're willing to do that too, but most important, keep it in bounds. Keep the clock rolling. Critical 3rd down here for Elway and company. An extra wide receiver on the field as Clarence Kay goes to the sideline.
Yeah, that incomplete pass stops the clock. 3:56 left. Broncos better than 50% on third down. Down the middle, wide open Natil, and a first down at the 48. That is where Elway has struck, right down the middle against the Raider defense.
Using the great arm strength. Watch the velocity as Elway will wait for the receiver to break between defenders and then whip that ball. Watch the power of that throw. Boy, that ball just sizzles in there. Jerry Robinson trying to get there. Lionel Washington trying to get there. Vance McElroy trying to get there. No one got there in time except Ricky Natil.
See that umpire, Hendy Ansich, he saw that bullet coming. He was ducking. He right through his cap. From the 47 of the Raiders with 3:07 now left. And Elway in an excellent position close to field goal range as Winder picks up about 5. Lyndon King trips him up. And we're under 3 minutes. And here you wonder if the Raiders would use one of their timeouts. Elway literally can chew up all the rest of this minute to the 2-minute timeout with one more play.
Well, Dick, there's only one man, at least I only know of one on that Raiders sideline that could go back to the dog days like this for the Raider, and that's George Anderson, their trainer. He was there in '62 when they lost 13 in a row. Of course, they're fighting to keep from losing their 7th here today.
Elway using all the time he can, right down to 1 second. He gives off to Winder, caught in the backfield by Howie Long.
Timeout.
Rod Martin was there as well. Indeed, they're not going to let the Broncos run it down to 2. At 2:16, the first Raider timeout is spent.
Watch number 75 just go inside and rip Stephen Huff. No, that's Kenny Lanier, 76. Tears the jersey off Winder.
Ball Lake, Denver Broncos and Los Angeles Raiders, all rights reserved. A very important 3rd and 6 for Denver at the Raider 43. Elway gets away again. Oh my, what a player. Elway to the 30-yard line and a first down.
The ability to turn the broken play into the first down. Elway has done it with his arm. Now he does it with his feet. He's trapped. At this point, most quarterbacks in the NFL accept the sack or throw the football away. Not Elway. Gets away from Sean Jones, 99. Greg Townsend, the fastest of the linemen, can't run him down, and outside to get the first down. I'll tell you, that's a great play.
Comes down to the 2-minute timeout. Vance Johnson becomes a spectator. Go get him, John. That's it. That's a first down. And we have a timeout. Viewers who have just joined us to watch Our House, please stay tuned. Our House will be seen in its entirety immediately following this game, except for the Mountain and Pacific time zone stations where the program will be seen at its regular time. And then The Empire Strikes Back, part of the Sunday night TV menu here on NBC. The Raiders have 2 timeouts to spend, but Elway's legs have given the Broncos a first down at the 30 with a 6-point lead. Winder, and they'll try to tackle the ball, and Winder picks up 3, and Rod Martin quickly calls time at the 1.
But they've been pushed around pretty well by this Bronco offense.
That Heisman tandem you saw, Marcus Allen and Bo Jackson, though, have been very much a part of this game. Winder going outside, and James Davis came in to trip him up in the backfield, and the Raiders spend their last timeout with big play, 3rd and 11 for Elway. And he's a big play man, a quarterback draw, and he's down shy of the 20, very close to a first down, and the clock will run.
Elway a little slow getting up. That'll make Dan Reeves' pulse jump about 20 points. Planned quarterback. Figured this one was over. Now he's back in there. I think they're going to run the football. I don't expect to see Elway run this one, Dick. You're going to see somebody else with the ball.
He would sneak off left guard down on the goal line. That was the play. Let's see if that's where they attack again.
Trying to draw him off sides. It's not going to happen. I think you're going to see the play. No, there he goes.
Off the left side. The same call is down on the goal line. And Elway has the first down.
It looked like they were trying to get the Raiders to jump off sides, and they couldn't get that. Elway electing to go for the sneak. And got it. Well, those are secure hands to put the ball in.
And it's time now for the Most Valuable Player Award, sponsored by Budweiser. Today's MVP, I mean, you could have mailed this one in on Wednesday. John Elway from Denver. Budweiser will make a contribution to the United Way on behalf of all the MVP selected around the National Football League today.
You think we could have made it unanimous and we voted with this whole crowd today, too? I don't think there would have been any questions about it. The only other player I could think of, Vance Johnson, perhaps, who's had a bright day. But, of course, the man who delivered him the football was none other than John Elway.
Our thanks to all our help in the booth. Scott Davies, Stan O'Take, Gretchen Meyer, Chuck Panama, Andy Apodaca. Tom Flores, his team fell behind 13-0. They tried but could not overcome the early advantage of the Broncos, and Flores and the Raiders leave with their 7th consecutive loss. You have to go back to only their 2nd year in the old American Football League to find such a losing string. And meanwhile, Dan Reeves, it was a tough one.